Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, not only is Bitcoin continuing to play out the short-term bullish divergence, we're also now officially starting to see a short squeeze as a lot of the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates are flipping negative while the price is pumping, liquidating a bunch of short positions, helping to fuel this pump further towards the upside. So yes, I am still long on Bitcoin, as I shared in my last video, and in just a moment, I'll be sharing exactly how I'm planning to make a lot of quick and easy profits from the next Bitcoin move, which is already starting right now. So definitely pay attention to this. While Solana is currently bouncing from this significant area of support, and XRP is also continuing this short-term bounce from a very crucial area of support. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video. So definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a significant bearish divergence to watch out for, which is technically still active. It's not yet been invalidated. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, for now, we're not really seeing significant momentum to either direction in terms of the larger momentum in the market. Obviously, if we're looking at the current stage in the market right now, we're kind of just lacking momentum, looking relatively neutral. Obviously, this neutral price action is made up of short-term bullish moves and short-term bearish moves, but overall the larger momentum is still relatively flat, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, the price of Bitcoin is obviously putting in this higher low now and breaking out above some certain points of resistance here. So first of all, we bounced before even hitting this area of support, sitting in between 106.7k to 107.6k, which is of course good news for the price structure for Bitcoin. And this also potentially creates a bit of a W pattern or double bottom pattern if the price were to actually break out above this high right here at around 117,000 to 118,000. If we break out above that point, that'll be extremely bullish price structure, and it would be extremely likely would continue towards the all-time high, possibly seeing new all-time highs not long after that. If we actually confirm a breakout above this high, that will be a crucial point on the price chart to pay attention to. And speaking about important points to pay attention to, we're potentially just now starting to break out above one of those points, which is this level right here at approximately 113,500. Previously, this has been important resistance in the short term. And once again, as I record in this video, we're potentially now breaking out above that level. All we need to see is ideally a candle close, especially on the daily time frame, above 113.5k in order to officially confirm this breakout back above that level. And we also have what's called a hidden bullish divergence on the daily Bitcoin price chart, which is of course higher lows in the price while lower lows are forming and actually already confirmed in the RSI. And so once again, that's known as a hidden bullish divergence. A regular bullish divergence is lower lows in the price and higher lows in the RSI. So this is basically, once again, lower lows in the RSI and higher lows in the price. And in case you're new to all of this, essentially any divergence between two lows between the price and a price oscillator like the RSI, if we're looking at the lows, that's known as a bullish divergence. If we're looking at the highs, that's a bearish divergence. And so once again, this is a hidden bullish divergence, which is typically, of course, bullish for Bitcoin, but it's usually a bit weaker. It's not as strong as a regular bullish divergence, technically speaking. But ultimately, it is a bullish signal to pay attention to. And of course, on top of that hidden bullish divergence on the daily time frame, we have a regular bullish divergence on the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, which has already been playing out, as I've been saying, pretty much every day since all the way back down here at the lows. I've been talking about this bullish divergence playing out over the coming days. But to be fair, obviously, even though I was expecting a bullish reaction from a bullish divergence as the most common outcome, of course, I was not necessarily expecting a move of this degree. But obviously, if I was longing Bitcoin, if you were longing Bitcoin, expecting maybe just a slight bullish relief, of course, this is a good thing to happen if you're in a long position expecting at least some bullish price action anyway. But it is worth pointing out that right now, as of recording this video, the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI is now entering into overbought territories, which does not necessarily mean this is the top right now, but it means that yes, we have gone quite far towards the upside, and we're now getting to the point where we're a little overheated right now, and it is quite likely at some point point in the next 1 or 2 days, not necessarily right this imminent moment, but most likely within the next day or so here in the short term, we're likely going to start to cool off a little bit, whether it's right now or at a slightly higher point. Just expect some sort of cool off, very likely within the next couple of days. But once again, that does not necessarily mean this is the top forever. For example, we did see overbought right here, an overbought signal back here around mid-September. And of course, that was at least a bit of a high in the price. We did see a bit of a cool off in the next few days, but ultimately we also continued to head higher later on. And we have also just now officially cleared this previous high in the short-term price structure for Bitcoin, which is of course now officially creating a higher high in the price. So now we clearly have some bullish price structure. And of course, we also have a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern if we were to see some sort of rejection right here. For example, if we were to see basically a cool off right this moment, that could possibly form an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which would be once again a bullish price pattern, potentially causing even more bullish price action later on. And so ultimately, at least in the short term, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin, as I've been saying every day since all the way back down here. Over the last few days, I've been saying expect at least some bullish price action moving forward in the short term over the next few days as a result, of course, of this bullish divergence here and other factors. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, it is worth pointing out that at least for now, we still have liquidity building below the price at around 108.1k to 108.5k approximately. But as I always say, yes, the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where we have a lot of liquidity as a high likely scenario. But as always, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee. So very occasionally, sometimes very rarely, we do actually move away from liquidity, in this case right here, as a result of a bit of a short squeeze playing out, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And for now, if we're looking at liquidity towards the upside, we have a relatively small amount, which we've basically just hit as of recording this video at just above 114,000. We also have a relatively small amount at around 116.6k to 116.8k, and we have a lot of liquidity at roughly 118,000 to 119,000. So basically around these highs, just above that high right around here, we have a lot of liquidity, which is potentially now drawing the price towards that area. We're kind of just entering into basically a gravitational field towards that area, if you want to put it like that. And potentially one of the major factors right now that's causing, or at least helping to fuel this pump towards the upside, is of course funding rates below neutral, and for some cryptos on some exchanges even flipping into the negative, which basically means the short positions right now for these negative funding rates are having to pay funding fees to the long positions. So the long positions are earning fees, the short positions are paying extra fees. And this is what happens when there's a high demand to short crypto. So in other words, a lot of traders right now looking to short crypto as we're continuing to see a pump. So in other words, people shorting crypto here, getting wiped out of the market, putting more money on the exchange, shorting crypto, getting wiped out, shorting crypto, getting wiped out. And when a short position gets wiped out, that actually pushes the price higher, causing more short positions to get wiped out, pushing the price higher, and so on. That's what a short squeeze is. And so considering this is already playing out right now as of recording this video, it's already started while the funding rates are below neutral, which is, by the way, 0.01% is the neutral rate. While funding rates are below neutral, and especially in the negative territory, think of that as extra fuel to add onto the bullish flame. And so in other words, it's likely that the short squeeze will continue while the funding rates are this low, below neutral, and especially negative. But obviously, eventually, if this ultimately continues high enough, the funding rates will slowly start to move towards the positive direction and towards neutral, and perhaps even above neutral, depending on how long this lasts. And potentially another reason as to why we're seeing a major bullish move right now, and this could likely continue moving forward, is of course the seasonality of Bitcoin. Right now, we're basically at the end of September, just about to enter into October and entering into Q4, the fourth quarter of the year. And historically speaking, looking at Bitcoin's past price action, this is pretty much the most bullish time of the year. Usually around October, we see massive gains in Bitcoin and crypto. As always, not financial advice, no guarantees. This is just simply the historical facts of Bitcoin. And so we can clearly see on this chart right here, dating all the way back back to 2013, October is pretty much hands down the most bullish month, especially if we're looking at, say, the median, for example. And now, of course, if we're looking at the average returns, some major outliers like November 2013 can skew the average. So November historically is also a pretty bullish month, but October is pretty much known as the most bullish month for Bitcoin. So considering we're just about to head into October, potentially this is a lot of people front running what is usually a bullish October. And so these are all of the potential reasons as to why we're currently pumping and why this could potentially continue moving forward. And right now, of course, my Bitcoin trading strategy is still long on Bitcoin. Of course, I talked about this in my last video before all of this actually played out. And so once again, you could see right here, my entry price was around 110K just before, or just as the pump was starting, as we could see right here. And I basically entered this trade as I pressed record on my last video. As soon as I started my last video, I basically entered this trade right before the video. And then by the time I posted the video, the price was still at around 110K, 111K. It moved up a little bit by the time I posted the video, but still much lower than where it is right now. And so obviously, if you subscribe to the channel and had notifications turned on, and if you watched my video as soon as I posted it, and let's just say if you longed Bitcoin here, or even if you're a few hours late, longed Bitcoin at 111K, 112K, right now, as of recording this video, you'll still be decently up on that position. And so right now, once again, still long on Bitcoin, but in case you haven't already noticed by now, I have actually taken some profits out of this trade over the last one day and placed a stop loss in profits as well. And I've done this for two different reasons. The first reason is, of course, risk management, essentially just protecting any downside so that even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashed for whatever reason, I'd still come away with profits out of this trade, with a stop loss closing the rest of the trade in profits on top of the already secured profits that I've taken out of the trade. And so by utilizing this risk management strategy, just by taking a bit of profits here and there out of a long, having a stop loss, keeping it in profits, essentially it's almost impossible to lose on a trade once you implement a good risk management. And another reason as to why I took profits recently is because we are running into this previous high, which we're potentially breaking out above, but it's possible we could struggle around this high, and especially around these previous lows at around 114.5K. It's possible we could find a little bit of resistance around here. And also keep in mind that on the 4-hour RSI, we're just now entering into overbought, which means most likely at some stage in the next 1 or 2 days, not necessarily right now, but sometime soon, it's quite likely we're going to start cooling off as a likely scenario. Once again, it's possible the short squeeze will continue a little bit further first of all, but most likely within the next couple of days, expect some sort of cool off. And so due to those reasons, once again, I've just reduced the size of the trade. In fact, I've basically cut the trade in half. In my last video, it was around a $200,000 Bitcoin long position. As of recording this video, around a $100,000 Bitcoin long position. And so you can see right here, being very transparent, I've already secured around 2,600 USD in realized profits in one quick day of trading, and over 3,500 USD in unrealized profits still to go. And so once again, even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashes, essentially I've already secured those profits right there, and my stop loss sitting in profits, securing extra profits here if the trade basically goes bad. But considering, at least for now, we do have a lot of evidence suggesting potentially a continued pump moving forward, like for example, entering into October and the funding rates below neutral. Once again, I've not closed the entire trade, just taking some profits, placing a stop loss in profits, but still leaving a portion of the trade open in case the price continues pumping. And so in simple terms, my trading strategy is to leave my upside potential open while also limiting any downside risk, so that in the worst case scenario, still making money, in the best case scenario, making a lot more money. And so that's exactly how I plan to make a lot of quick and easy profits from this Bitcoin move, which has already started, which I talked about in my last video. And of course, if you want to take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of quick and easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on Bitfinex. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it will take you to this page right here where you can claim massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, you can claim up to 120,000 USDT out of a prize pool here in trading bonuses just by trading crypto using that link. And there's also deposit bonuses. For example, if you deposit as little as $100, you get a $20 bonus, or if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your Bitfinex account. Basically free money from the exchange just by making an account and depositing and starting to trade using that link. link. But unfortunately, if you don't use that link, you can't claim any of these bonuses here. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link below this video to take advantage of these major bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can also claim massive bonuses, like for example, up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stable coins. So once again, free money from the exchange just by trading and depositing crypto using that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. And on top of that, without making any trade or any deposit, you get a free $30 sign up bonus in trial funds here to actually use to trade over on 2bit, and also 1 month free VIP 3 upgrade on your 2bit account. So basically very cheap trading fees over on 2bit, but all of this right here is only available if you're using the link below this video to actually make your 2bit account. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, and right now alongside Bitcoin in the short term playing out a bullish divergence, the Bitcoin dominance on the 3-day time frame is also playing out a bit of a short-term bullish divergence as well. And of course, this is exactly what I've already been predicting here on the channel over the last 1 to 2 weeks or so, basically since all the way back down here. I've been saying we do have a bullish divergence to watch out for, which will likely cause just a slight bullish relief like this as a very likely outcome over the coming days, if not weeks. And so considering this is still active, still playing out, ultimately continue to expect a bit more of a bullish relief in the Bitcoin dominance in the coming days, potentially in the next 1 or 2 weeks is a very likely scenario here, which basically means a lot of the altcoin market, not necessarily every altcoin, some altcoins can be outliers, but a lot of the altcoin market on average will likely be slightly underperforming Bitcoin. And so in other words, if Bitcoin's playing out a major short squeeze like what we've done just recently, a lot of altcoins can still play out bullish price action against the US dollar, but maybe not as much as what Bitcoin is doing. For example, if the Bitcoin dominance ultimately continues this relief, which is a very likely scenario as I've already been predicting here on the channel. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, right now Ethereum is perfectly bouncing from my exact area of support here, still sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. So obviously that's still a significant area on the price chart to pay attention to based on previous very significant resistance back here. And as for resistance to watch out for, we still have a lot of resistance in between roughly 4.8k to 4.9k. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at that 8-hour Ethereum price chart, we can see that just over the last 1 day, we've now officially confirmed a breakout back above this short-term area right here, which was previous support and was acting as a bit of resistance over the last few days, but is now once again acting as support, which is obviously some short-term bullish price structure. And in case you're new to the channel, the area I'm talking about is in between around 40.60 to 4.1k. And of course, I mentioned this in my last video. I said if we continue to see a pump for Bitcoin in the short term, that will significantly increase the probability that Ethereum will break out above this area. That's exactly what I said in my last video yesterday before the breakout happened. And so now that we have broken out back above this area, and now that this is once again acting as a new support, the next resistance to watch out for is at approximately 4.2k. We could find some resistance around this, as we have already just seen over the last few hours, over the last 1 day. But we have this area as well to watch out for in between around 42.50 to 42.80 based on previous important support flipping into new resistance. And if we break out above all of that area just there, which right now we're running into, currently causing the price to struggle a little bit, but if we break out above that area, ideally above 4.3k, in that situation would likely see a move all the way up towards almost 4.5k as the next significant point of resistance. And as always, when it comes to altcoins, simply pay attention to what the price of Bitcoin and also what the Bitcoin dominance are doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of the altcoin market. So with Bitcoin playing out a major bullish move alongside the Bitcoin dominance also playing out a bit of a bullish move, ultimately expect some bullish price action for a lot of altcoins, but maybe just lagging behind Bitcoin a little bit, at least for now. That's still a very likely scenario, as I've already been saying over the last few days, and obviously continuing to play out as predicted, and will likely continue at least over the next few days. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, obviously Solana is also perfectly bouncing from my exact area of support that I've been targeting since all the way back up here, sitting in between around 190 to 200. So obviously, as I said, all the way back up here, if we break below 230, we do have a potential point of support at around 215 to 216. But if we break below that level, expect to move down towards in between 190 to 200, and then expect a lot of support in that area. So obviously that is ultimately what has played out. And obviously it's very good news for Solana that we are holding above that area, because we're still technically holding the larger bullish price structure intact if we're talking about the much larger trend here, not just the short-term moves. And as for resistance to watch out for, I'll now be focusing on around 215 to 216 based on this previous high, now once again acting as resistance. And if we break out above 215 to 216, expect to move up towards around $230 as the next potential point of resistance. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 12-hour Solana price chart, we can see that right now, obviously Solana is continuing the bounce from oversold in the 12-hour Solana RSI, which is what I've been talking about since basically this exact low all the way back down here. You can even check my videos since back then, just a few days ago. I said we've hit extremely oversold in the RSI, so it's very likely now that we're going to see a bit of a relief, most likely a bit of a bounce of some sort over the next few days to reset the RSI out of oversold. So obviously this is all playing out as I've been talking about over the last few days since all the way back down here. And right now I continue to predict this moving forward. We're likely going to see a little bit more of a bullish relief as a very likely scenario, especially if the price of Bitcoin continues showing a lot of strength. Once again, Bitcoin at the moment at least really leads the market. So if Bitcoin is playing out a major bullish move, even if the Bitcoin dominance is also bullish, we'll likely see some bullish price action at least for a lot of altcoins. But remember, if the Bitcoin dominance is bullish while the price of Bitcoin is bullish, a lot of altcoins will likely be underperforming Bitcoin. Not necessarily every altcoin, but most altcoins out there still playing out bullish price action, just not necessarily as much as what Bitcoin is doing. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, technically speaking, we still have a massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which is technically still active. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation to invalidate the bearish divergence that I warned about months ago, since basically all the way back in July I talked about this bearish divergence, saying we're likely going to see a larger cool off. So this is all playing out, as I said, months ago. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, right now we are continuing that short-term bounce from a crucial area of support here, where we've previously seen many major bounces from. And this area, in case you're new to the channel, is sitting in between around $2.70 to $2.80. And as for resistance to watch out for, if we continue this short-term bounce here, expect some resistance at around $2.93, which of course I talked about over the last 1 to 2 days here on the channel. And right now we're pretty much hitting that exact level at the latest candle week high, and perfectly starting to struggle and possibly reject from that exact level to the nearest cent, which I talked about in my last video. But if we break through that level right there, expect potentially a little bit more resistance at closer towards $3. But really the next significant area to watch out for is in between around $3.10 to $3.15. And above that area, we also have another significant area of resistance in between around $3.30 to $3.35. And just remember what I said about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin dominance throughout the video. If Bitcoin continues to play out bullish price action, but if the Bitcoin dominance is also playing out a bit of a bullish relief right now, expect some bullish price action to continue for XRP and a lot of altcoins, just maybe lagging behind Bitcoin as a very likely scenario. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink, obviously playing out that short-term bullish move, but kind of just lagging behind Bitcoin. Ultimately continue to expect that, as I've already been saying here on the channel many times. But even though we are playing out a short-term bullish move, technically this larger price structure that we're in is technically still bearish. If we're looking at the highs and the lows, we're still seeing lower highs and lower lows in the price chart, which is obviously not very very good. We're still technically within larger bearish price structure, but clearly playing out a short-term bullish relief, which this short-term bullish move will likely continue, especially if Bitcoin continues that short-term bullish pump. And so now that we're ultimately continuing a bounce from my exact area of support here in between $19 to $20, the next area of resistance to watch out for is in between around $22 to $22.30. So at roughly $22 and slightly above $22, expect some resistance around there, potentially a lot of resistance around there based on the significance of that area. But if the price actually confirms a breakout back above this level and actually holds above this level, in that situation, that'll be extremely good news for Chainlink, at least in the short term, and would likely see a move at least up towards around $24 to $25 if we actually properly confirm a breakout above $22 with candle closes above that level and actually holding above that level. And so overall, those are my expectations and the key levels to watch out for Chainlink and the rest of the crypto market right here. And once again, if you want to take any trades like this for yourself to make a lot of quick and easy profits in crypto like what I'm doing right now, make sure to check out the exchanges links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of quick and easy profits in crypto like what I'm doing right now with my own money, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.